Hey, how's it going? Welcome back. I'm Matt, and today we're doing some music production stuff. Last week, I made a video of me making a beat, messing around with some things in Ableton, kind of showing you how I do my workflow with beat making. Beats aren't the only kind of music I make. I do a couple different things. I'm in a band called Lenny and Carl where I play guitar, do some more kind of, indie rock stuff. But also, I put out some solo stuff under the name Dirtbird, and I have a specific workflow for how I make some of those songs. So today I'm going to go through a workflow of how I make some of my songs for my solo stuff. That usually incorporates guitars, samples, and bass stuff, and kind of mix it all together, and then I'll finish out an entire track, and I will arrange it out, I'll make a whole song, and then what I'll do is I'll export that entire mix, and then take that new exported mix, bring that exported mix into a new project in Ableton, and then I'll take that whole thing and I'll manipulate it as one whole track. So I'm just going to kind of show you the way that I move through that workflow, because it's something I've been having a lot of fun with in the past year or so, and I just think it gets some cool sounds. So if you want to see how I go through that kind of thing, I'm going to open up Ableton now and show you how I make a song. So I have a ton of drum loops here that I recently got out of this pack. This is the Bolt Parallel Universe Breaks pack. Alright, so let's take this guy. What I'm going to do is pull some of that low end out because it's pretty boomy. So let's get an EQ on there. Slow him down a little too. Okay. Oh, wrong one. Yeah. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a slate mix rack on here. Get a little grit out of these drums. Alright, so now I'm going to try to dial it in with this Neve style preamp. So I like using this drive button just to get a little grit, like you're really pushing that preamp a little bit. Here's without it. Alright, let's try to come up with a guitar line. So one thing that's fun to do, a plugin I like to use for finding guitar sounds is the Waves Guitar Tool Rack. I do click around the presets. I'm a preset person. I know that's, I don't know, some people are not a big fan of presets. They're helpful. They're a great starting point. So I have my Telecaster here. I'm gonna plug it in and try to come up with a guitar line that I like. Alright, so I have my guitar line. And then what I'll do is I'll put a little melody of some sort over top of that. So we'll get another tool rack. Sometimes presets are a little insane. You gotta dial back that delay because that's just nuts. So that's just kind of floating in the background there. Now, we'll put a bass line in. This is my Fender P bass. Okay. All of that together. Now we have a little loop going. I'm just gonna punch up that bass just a smidge for bass as a starting point. At least I like to use my Waves SSL channel. I think this is, yeah, it's the E channel, SSLE. I'm not worried about the bass being super low endy right now because eventually I'm going to take all of this and slow it down. Overall, there's going to be a lot more lower frequency information, so I try not to crowd up the low end, especially now, because when I export and then slow the whole thing down later, it's going to get muddy fast. So now let's just get like a quick arrangement of all of this. Okay, so I'm going to take all of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm just going to do 8 of them. Not making like a full song here, just kind of showing you what the process is. So I take all this. Let's say we make a little intro out of these. Oops. Okay. All right, so let's say that's our song. We're gonna call this guy our Slow Boy Test. We're gonna export it out, and then I'm gonna take that full file of the entire song, and we're gonna put it back into a new Ableton session and slow it down. I'm gonna show you what that's like. Now, there it is. Now we're gonna take this. We're gonna take our tempo and just slow it down. And then to match with that, gonna transpose it down a little bit. So now that we've slowed it down, it is pretty muddy though. So I'm just going to find another EQ8 because it is just so nice and easy to use. We're going to find where that mud is, pull it down a little bit. Sometimes a slate tape machine just to give it a little more little glue. I don't know that that needs the iPad. Sometimes that tape machine thickens things up a little too much. So I'll do the EQ, throw in tape machine, dial it back a little bit because the tape machine can add a little bit too much thickness in that low end. And then another fun thing that sometimes I'll throw in is beat repeat in Ableton is just like a fun tool to try to kind of give it like a artificial, like chopped kind of DJ screw thing. Since I'm already slowing it down, that's kind of where my brain goes. Now I'll spread it out a little bit so it doesn't happen all the time. Something like that, but I want to have it more times. Like something like that, just a little, it just repeats stuff every once in a while. Pull the volume down a little. Haven't I? Yeah, so it just kind of gets thrown in a little bit here and there. And then it kind of gets, all of these things down here will tell you what kind of, like if it's on 16th notes, how often it happens, the chance of it happening, I guess. You can put a filter on it, the volume of it, the decay. So it's fun to just kind of mess around with that. So here's my, artificial chopped and screwed song that's also me. So kind of sampling myself and then slowing it down, taking out some of the mud, but also giving it that tape saturation, and then beat repeat stuff. It's nothing crazy. Alright, yeah, so that's how I go through the workflow of making a song like that. Again, I just record everything in like I'm making any other beat or song like that in Ableton, do the whole thing, manipulate each track kind of on its own, build out a whole mix, build out a whole arrangement, get everything just how I want it. Then what I'll do afterwards is take that whole thing, export it, have it as just its own single audio file, and then I'll take that stereo file, bring it back into a new Ableton track, and start to manipulate from there. You can do all kinds of things from there. The way I like to do it, at least as a starting point, or most of the time, is try messing around with slowing it down, mess around with kind of chopping things up, all kinds of weird stuff, but that's usually a starting point. So that's a workflow I like to do. I hope it was helpful for you to see how I do it. I hope you liked it. If you did like it, hit the like button. If you want to see more content like this, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to see a song that I made like this, I have a video in my channel for a song called So Long that I made with a friend of mine. I'm really happy with how that one came out. So if you want to see how I've done this as a full song, you can check that out on my channel. That's all I got for you this week. Thanks for watching.